Hey, welcome back to the Scaling Deep podcast. This is your host, Lisa Princic, membership expert and business strategist. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on here, but if you haven't already noticed by now, I do these on the go. I literally record and then post because I am not an advanced planner when it comes to podcasting. I've found my groove, and my groove is to be winging it and putting out information on the topics I'm most excited about in time. And that's just more of like a long form content marketing style than, say, a traditional podcast style that involves people coming up with content and topics and guests like months and months and months in advance and recording and then having it finally come out. So, on that note, I had a few health things going on, some other stuff going on, and I just had such low productivity in the last couple of weeks that I just could not get the energy up to really produce as much as I had to. And I had a number of VIP clients in the last few weeks. So I just kind of chilled. And now we're officially in summer. It's the end of June. School ends here and we've got the weather for it. So I am thinking about what is happening for me this summer and how to kind of plan my business around it. So what I want to talk about today is just getting comfortable with the ebb and flow of membership growth for a couple different reasons. Sometimes because of our own productivity and our own schedule limitations, and sometimes because it's just a slower season for sales all around. So let's talk about how to get comfortable with that and get around it. Now, one of the things that I want to mention first is just that idea of, yes, things are going to be cyclical, even though you've got a recurring revenue model with a membership, there'll still be waves where you see tremendous growth and you get a whole bunch of people coming in at once. And then there'll be periods where it seems like nothing is happening. And I'm predicting that's going to happen early July because it seems to be a month when, no matter where you live, at least in North America, there's going to be some kind of summer happening in the month of July. I know that some schools get out end of May and June is full swing summer and others are end of June. And so that means that July is really that month where a lot of people are gone. There's holidays at the beginning of the month and that just throws it off. So are people really paying attention to business stuff or the thing that you're in? Maybe, maybe not. So it doesn't mean you stop, and it doesn't mean that some people aren't really keen to learn the things. It just means that as you slow down and as you're off on not doing all the things, there's probably a bunch of other people doing it as well. So those natural cycles will occur, especially when you're doing things like promotions or events or being in other people's audiences. All those opportunities really make a difference for how your month is going to look like in terms of new sales. So what can you do about it? Well, you have to decide, where are you at? Are you at a time where you need to chill out and just do your own stuff and focus on your own personal life, get some much needed rest, and go hang out with friends and family, or just take some time to enjoy like whatever season you're in right now? Or do you really feel like this is space finally to put the pedal to the metal and hustle a little bit and catch up on some things, which is perfectly fine as well? Then just make that decision and then use that time wisely, as opposed to fighting it by trying to be productive when you're not going to, or having expectations about things being really awesome, getting out there, finishing all the activities, making some good money when you actually don't have the time for it. And then you just feel kind of stressed and overwhelmed because you're not doing it. And so that's where you just have to make that decision. Like, what time is this going to be for you? Are you going to go with the flow if things have slowed down in general in buying in your industry and pick up on that theme and do what everyone else is doing? Or are you going to just use this time to work on some big projects? So once you've made that decision, you can figure out, like, are you going to prepare for sales later? Are you going to do some big projects that might lead to something that you can use later to sell. So you could be working on like programming inside your membership. I'm going to be doing some re-recording of my main course this summer, and also doing something big that I've been waiting to do for a while, which is getting back on social. And I should say social in terms of short form content. So TikTok and Instagram, I'm going to get back on actually this week. And I know that's going to take a little bit of time to create the content, which I've already started pulling together, just start getting in the headspace to focus on every day or every other day, so that I make sure I'm doing it regularly, consistently, and getting some traction in it over a period of time so I can evaluate. So that's why it's a project to me. It's a project because it's going to take an extra level of focus because it's new, and also just building a habit and of doing it regularly, which it's a learning curve every time you do something again and you haven't for a while, or you're learning the new ways of doing it, or there's any kind of learning curve involved. It's going to take a little bit of time. So that's where I'm focusing, and I'm recognizing that I'm not taking on a whole bunch of other things this summer. I'm being realistic. The fact that I will probably get as much done as I normally do in a month in 2 months, because there's time away and time to go hang out at the lake with my son, things like that. So I want to enjoy it and know that I'm not going to have as much time to do all the things. So planning it accordingly is helpful, and also just getting comfortable with the fact that I'm not trying to do anything really big. And that's the other question. It's like thinking about, do you need to get sales now? Like, because it is totally fine if that's just something you do need. Like, you need a cash injection is what we call it in the online business world. And you need to go out there and find some clients, like people who are ready to do the work with you now. Get some new members in your program. So that's also okay. So just understanding, like, is the time that you do spend now on your business, is it going to be, I need sales now because I need that cash flow? Or can you build something in the background that you can launch later, which will help you start to build the systems to get it in the future, in the fall, or whenever that time is for you, that makes more sense, rather than feeling like you have to put the pressure on yourself to do it now. So these are all questions that you need to ask yourself, rather than just pressing play every day, or pressing buttons every day, or sending off random emails, or just going down content rabbit holes of things that you might not need to learn about or to buy. It's really, I think, more important to understand, what is it that you do need the most in your business? Is it sales now? Is it building up something for sales later? Or is it just time off or CEO time? And then making the appropriate plans given the amount of time you have to get those things done, so that you feel ultimately successful at the end of it. And then also getting comfortable with the fact that just because things might be slower, or just because things might be booming at a time, it doesn't mean it's a repetitive pattern that you can count on. The only thing you can count on is a little bit of the inconsistency. So you just never know quite, even in your evergreen funnel, when things come in. If you have an evergreen funnel and you're getting hundreds of sales every month, you're going to see more predictability than you will if you've got a few sales, or even 10 in the tens of sales every month. I will sometimes not see a sale or a new member inside the Scaling Deep Society for 2 weeks or more. And then it'll be crazy to see that I'll get 2 that come within hours of each other. And it always makes me think that, well, do they know each other? Did they just say, hey, I'm going to join this. Do you want to join it too? Let's do it together. Because it just seems so odd that they'll come minutes apart when it'll be a couple weeks with no traction at all. And that's just the sort of randomness that you get, and when you're not at a huge scale of, of volume and hundreds. So we have to just get comfortable with that flow, that yes, even though we're not selling one-off big ticket things, we've got a recurability in our type of offer, we're not always going to see that happen that way. And depending where your sources are coming from, it could be organic and something gets out there. Somebody could have shouted you out. The algorithms are kind of working well for you wherever they may be. So even with a Facebook ad, for example, yes, I'll get leads consistently every day, but some of those leads might be better quality on some days than others. So these are things that I don't even know about, and I don't even know how to begin to control it. It's just, it'll change a little bit of like who's coming in and how serious they are. And then sometimes it's just happen to be timing. Someone's been off Facebook for a while and then they get back on it, and they're the ideal person to see what you're offering, and then they jump in. So these are unpredictable things that are always going to occur, and all we can do is hedge ourselves by doing the things that we need to do to fill in those gaps, those consistency gaps, those visibility gaps, and those sales ones, which is stuff that I'm always working on inside the Scaling Deep Society, because I know that a lot of people join that program because they want to design a membership that they love and that they'll want to have for the long term. But then they're also constantly working on this optimization after they've done that to keep the flow going and keep the members happy there. And we're always talking about sales and marketing and retention type of things, because that is that long-term optimization that kind of creates that system for that monthly recurring revenue that we love. And so circling back to what I'm working on in the next few weeks and couple months, I should say, and actually starting on this week, is getting back on organic social. So I can create more visibility and also more of a connection to my audience who might even be coming through my paid social, and having someone not just see me once, but then get to know me and see me in other ways. And that will, I think, make a big difference in the efficiency and the amount I'm spending to get people to know me and get them in my world. And that's a really fun thing now that I've discovered a tool, an AI tool, that's also going to help me create more reels and more content by breaking up some of my existing content, which is these podcasts, which I hear from my members all the time that they're always paying attention to them and watching them, and it's helpful for them. So that's where I'm going to use this tool to, in minutes, break apart some of these videos and break them into short form content, so I don't have to come up with copious amounts of short form content. There will be other ones that I do that are asking more basic questions and really being more personal, that I'll do in between the other ones that are from longer form content. But this repurposing has never even made sense to me before I discovered this AI tool, because it would have taken me hours to come up with just a couple clips, instead of now it's doing it in minutes for me. So that's why in some ways I've decided to do this strategy, because I didn't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month to get someone to do this for me, nor did I want to spend hours and hours and hours to break up some of the content that I already had. So that's the amazing thing about AI, is that it's helping us do tasks like content repurposing, which is major and super valuable, but always more time consuming than we think. So sometimes not even worth it. And then combining that with the fresh new things that I do, or the more personal and casual things I do. So coming together with that, that is kind of, again, a new project, a bigger project, but it's definitely going to be worth it. And it's going to help me leverage what I already have and what I'm already doing without taking tons of time. And that's something I can definitely pull off in those slower months. Coast a little bit with my revenue and my sales, and feel comfortable that I'm building up a system that I can like pour gasoline on in the fall when I have a bit more time and focus, and also feel more rested and just have more energy for it. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing. So I'm going to encourage you to head on over to Instagram and follow me there, because I'm going to start posting more regularly about all the things I'm up to in my fun, adventurous summer that I'm hoping to have. And I just want to thank you again for being here. I always love hearing from you and your feedback on it. So feel free to send me a note. Let me know what you want to hear more of. Bye for now.